So, it's been over 2 weeks since the Nintendo Switch 2 launched. I got the system with Mario Kart World at a midnight launch, and let me tell you, my experience so far has been a blast. The Switch 2 is better than the Switch 1 in almost every single way, as was expected and what we should expect from a successor console of this caliber. This video is not a review, but more of a first impressions kind of video, and if I think it's worth it to get the console in this launch period. So let's jump right into it. Hey guys, I usually don't make these kind of videos, so please be nice to me in the comments. I'm sorry if it's bad. I hope you enjoy. Right off the bat, the first thing I noticed unboxing this thing is that the Switch 2 is in general just bigger, which for some people might be seen as a bad thing, as the bigger size makes it less portable. However, while it is bigger, it's just as thick as the Switch 1, and not even close to being as big as the Steam Deck, and the screen is bigger with a higher resolution, and the system is more powerful. In my opinion, the pros outweigh the cons here. Keep in mind, however, that I don't play the system on the go that much, so if you are a huge portable enjoyer, I'd suggest looking at what other more portable gamers have to say. The screen specifically is a 1080p screen, while the Switch 1 screen was 720p, which wasn't that bad for the Switch 1 since the screen was smaller, but now it's a bit bigger, and the screen is sharp and just looks good. It also has support for 120Hz, which is really cool, because I especially like high refresh rates, but unfortunately I haven't gotten a chance to test this because I don't own a game that supports this refresh rate yet. And I actually think there's just one game out so far that does support this feature, and that game is Welcome Tour, which I refuse to buy for a number of reasons that I'm not going to get into right now. The screen is not an OLED screen, it is an LCD, which is a bit of a letdown, especially since the Switch 1 OLED model screen looks fantastic. But the Switch 2 screen is not bad at all, and if Nintendo decides to release a Switch 2 OLED model, I don't think I'll be buying it because I think this screen is more than enough for me. It's really good. And if the screen was OLED, they would probably have to charge even more for the system, which I think they wanted to avoid, especially because it's already quite pricey. Some notable changes on the actual body of the system is that there's an extra USB-C port on the top, which is very handy for accessories and for charging the system, when you have it, for example, up on the new and improved kickstand. I am personally a big fan of this new kickstand. It feels very sturdy and nice. You know what's also nice? The new Joy-Cons! They feel way better, way nicer to hold than the Switch 1 Joy-Cons. They are a bit bigger, the buttons and joystick feel better, and the triggers are a bit bigger, which gives you some more space to rest your fingers on it. Oh yeah, and they also attach magnetically to the system now, which is actually very nice. They snap really well to the system, and it's really satisfying in a way. It's clear that the controllers aren't going anywhere if they are on the system, without pressing the release button, unless you pull like really hard, which you have very little reason to do. The SR and SL buttons on the side are much better, although still not fantastic, they are way better and suffice. The new Joy-Cons are just literally better than the first edition in every single way. Oh, and there's also mouse mode. I won a game of Fortnite with it, which was cool. The controller doesn't really have the same shape as a mouse, so it was a bit weird to get used to. But so far, I think it's neat. When I got the Switch 1 for the first time, I thought to myself, I have got to get a Pro Controller. But for the Switch 2, I don't think you need to get a Switch 2 Pro Controller at all, because the new Joy-Con are just that good. Oh, and also, because your old Pro Controller works just fine with the Switch 1. Not just your Pro Controller, but your old Joy-Con as well, which is great. I can get a 4-player Mario Kart game up and running easily with a mix of old and new. The new dock has a fan on it and an Ethernet port. Not much ground being broken here, but I like the sleek design of it. Now, let's get to the home menu. It's better. I like the new home menu better than the Switch 1. It's quick and snappy, which is very important for a home menu. The new sound effects are fun, especially the new sound when you click on your profile. But no new profile customization, no home menu music, no eShop music. It's kind of just like the Switch 1 home menu, but with a fresh coat of paint, curved edges, and features that the Switch 1 should have had at launch that it got through updates. But to say something on a more positive note, the eShop's performance has been improved and using it is nicer. The odd hentai AI art game still manages to slip in though, but it's not as bad as it used to be. I technically shouldn't be able to use GameChat because Nintendo decided to have phone verification be required and not offer the option to use an Icelandic phone number, but I'm a wizard and managed to use it. For my testing, it quite literally is just party chat, a thing PlayStation and Xbox consoles have had for a very long time, but it looks eerily similar to Discord's layout. This is not me calling it bad, no. It's actually perfectly fine and functional. You can even connect a camera to use, and it doesn't even have to be the specific Nintendo camera. It can just be whatever USB camera you have lying around.
Real, cresty reference, real.
Which is really cool. Sure, you could just have Discord open, and I will probably just use that, but being able to just have everything on one system is nice. That's the appeal of video game consoles. It's supposed to be convenient, and be a singular console experience. Can't give Nintendo too much credit for this, however, because they were really late to the party, but I'm sad to see this much game chat slander. Now, let's get into the real meat and potatoes, the games. I got my console bundled with Mario Kart World, because that is the only way to not pay the terrible full price of this game. Instead of being $80, it's just $50, an actually fair price for the game in my opinion. I really enjoy this Mario Kart game, because believe it or not, I really like Mario Kart to begin with, so that helps. All the characters, costumes, track design, being able to drive on walls, grind on railings, and the whole world concept is really cool. Overall, for me, a very positive experience, either like playing single player or playing with friends. It's really fun. However, because Nintendo is Nintendo, they managed to screw up very simple stuff or make some very weird decisions. And I'm not just talking about the price tag of the game separately. I am going to be making a Mario Kart World video soon, where I will go into more details on my thoughts, so definitely subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on that and other cool stuff I got cooking. Other than Mario Kart, I haven't played a lot of other games, to be honest. I tested out Tears of the Kingdom a bit, and yup, it runs at 60 FPS, that's pretty good. I also got a bundle with the Persona games on sale, because a friend of mine convinced me to, but to my knowledge they don't have anything Switch 2 specific about them. I got No Man's Sky Switch 2 edition, but I've barely played it. I'm sorry, Sean Murray. Man, that game has had a redemption arc. I've just been so busy enjoying Mario Kart, to be honest. Also, there aren't a lot of options for entirely new games on the Switch 2 at launch. The newest experience you have is MK World, and the other options are just ports like Street Fighter 6 and Cyberpunk, which look really good and seem to like perform really well. But I'm not really interested in them at the moment, especially since they are fully priced, and I'm not really made out of money right now. There's also Welcome Tour. So, would I recommend getting a Switch 2 now? Recommending someone to get a new video game console during the launch period is always kind of a weird thing to suggest, mostly because of the fact that the game library is the smallest it will ever be, and it is the most expensive it will ever be. And for the Switch 2, that rings true. Sure, there's a huge Switch 1 library, and if you own a Switch 1, you could use the Switch 2 to go through your backlog and maybe even enjoy the benefits of the higher power of the new system. But for me, buying a new system for the sole reason of playing older games is kind of backwards. I still kind of get it though. The thing holding the Switch 1 back the most was its sheer lack of power, and seeing that be rectified with the Switch 2 is great. Mario Kart World is also great. Don't get me wrong, and playing Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom at 60 FPS is awesome. But that's one new game and two old games that play at a better frame rate. Unless you're a huge Mario Kart fan and you like what reviews are saying about the game and you really want to play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom at 60 FPS and are in a good enough financial situation, then maybe you wouldn't end up being unhappy with your purchase. This isn't financial advice, by the way. I recommend to you guys to know what your priorities are, you know? Let's say you can buy a Switch 2, but if you do, you have to eat ice soup for the rest of the month. In that case, I don't think you can buy a Switch 2, and in all honesty, I would just suggest waiting. I have a feeling we're gonna get a Direct soon, with more game announcements and news, and that this Nintendo gen is just getting started. So, what do I think overall? Well, I want to reiterate that this isn't a review, but my experience has overall been very positive. The Switch 2 is a huge improvement from the Switch 1 in almost every way, but it's kind of hard to justify purchase at this moment in time, and the game variety right now is not that varied. Plus, it's expensive. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please consider leaving a like, and maybe consider subscribing. That would be like super epic, bro.